Hello everyone, welcome back to a new post today. And very soon we'll be having the US and India 2+2 dialogue mechanism that's between the foreign ministers and the defense ministers of India and US. We have the ministers of the foreign secretary of US and the defense minister coming here for the 2+2 dialogue, which is the fifth series of the 2+2 dialogue mechanism, and has upgraded the ties of India and US. And it is for this reason, Prime Minister has decided not to attend a very important meeting of an organization of which India wants to become a member. And today let's look at the reasons, what are the advantages of India becoming a member of this grouping, and what are the recent controversies surrounding this organization called as the APEC, or the Asia Pacific Economic Forum as it is called. So there's going to be the meeting of the APEC summit, a 21 member country organization, and very close to India, very important from the Look East policy of India, and very close to India's eastern neighborhood. So this is very special because it is the first to be hosted by United States since 2011. Of which United States is a member, and India is aspiring to be a member of this organization. So leaders from 21 member Asia Pacific Economic Forum will be meeting at San Francisco this month in 30th of November for the APEC summit, first hosted by United States since 2011. And like most other international gatherings, APEC has become a stage for strategic competition between the US and China, the world's two largest economies. All eyes are on these groupings for the expected bilateral summit between US and China, whose ties have been strained as recent since the time of Donald Trump. And the meeting is going to be held between US President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping. Now, Xi has yet to commit is confirmation regarding the APEC attendance, but the meeting between the pair would be second in-person meeting since Biden took office as President of United States since on January 2021, and the first meeting at G20 summit in Bali was held a year ago between them both. Now the APEC leaders are due to gather, and from November 11th, senior financial officials from the member countries and the ministers will be heading for the summit, while the annual APEC CEO summit will run from November 14 to 16. So what exactly is APEC, or the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Organization as we call it? So the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, it was founded in Canberra in 1989 as an informal dialogue to promote economic cooperation, regional economic integration and cooperation, and initially just had only 12 members. Now India is an observer of this grouping. Now it is expected to involve almost 100 meetings a year, and APEC membership covers almost 38% of the global population and nearly 3 billion people, covering about 62% of the GDP and almost half of the global trade. Now APEC says it operates on a basis of non-binding commitments, open dialogue, equal respect for views of all the participants. Decisions are reached by consensus, commitments undertaken on a voluntary basis. Let me just spell out the APEC members. So they are Australia, Brunei, Canada, Chile, China, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Peru, Philippines, Russia, Singapore, Taiwan, Thailand, United States and Vietnam. The grouping is very unique because it consists of member economies rather than nations, allowing the participation of Hong Kong, Chinese-ruled Hong Kong, as well as the self-ruled Taiwan, which China claims of its own under the One China policy. Now it does not include in India, however, which is the second most largest populous country after China, but now it's the first. Attempts by India to be an APEC member were stymied for decades. India has been trying to be a member of the APEC since 1990s. First, because of the economy is not integrated into the global system, and then by membership freeze. Taiwan presidents do not actually participate in the APEC summits, but the island is represented by either senior former officials or business leaders. So what exactly are the current controversies surrounding the APEC? Hong Kong's representation has become controversial. Washington, which is the host, now is in charge of deciding the guest list. And in July, the US congressional aides said that they would not be inviting Hong Kong's chief executive because he is under the scanner of the US for human rights violation and sanctions. Russia's participation has now become divisive after it has invaded Ukraine last year, and its President Vladimir Putin did not attend the 2022 summit in Bangkok itself. Now, the State Department has said that Putin will not be invited even to San Francisco summit, which is going to happen. The draft final summit declaration this year will be difficult as divisions between members were seen over the conflicts in Ukraine as well as Middle East. In Bangkok last year, the leaders endorsed a text vowing to uphold and strengthen the rule-based multilateral trading system, while noting most of them condemned the Russia war in Ukraine. India wants to become a member of the APEC organization. Let's look at some of the important points with regard to this. Now, the 21-member APEC is home to 2.9 billion people, is a prominent force in shaping many of the regional policies, which is very, very close to India's east, promoting trade, investment and fostering cooperation among its members. Amid the global economic slowdown and China's economic uncertainties, India, the world's fastest growing economy and a green spot in the global trade, can bolster global growth by strengthening its regional integration into the APEC. India has tried to join the APEC since 1990s, but it remains an observer even till today. Now, India has been expanding trade and investment ties in the region since 2000, particularly through the India-ASEAN Free Trade Agreement and the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreements with Singapore and Malaysia. But some APEC members have reservations about accepting India into the grouping. India is the fifth largest economy. Its share of global GDP has more than doubled since 1990. Trade is vital for India's economy, accounting for almost 49% of the GDP in 2022 itself, and is growing. Now, becoming an APEC member would bring several benefits for India, such as promoting closer economic cooperation, facilitating trade and investment flows, opening market access to major economies. Aligning with APEC by simplifying and harmonizing trade procedures and regulation could bolster India's exports into this region, attract a lot of foreign investment, direct investment from this region, and also support domestic initiatives, especially by becoming a major global supply chain in the eastern part of the globe through Make in India initiatives, and also promoting Brand India, Make in India. Membership could encourage India to adopt the best practices, streamline trade processes and reduce transaction costs as well for India. India could learn from APEC's concerted unilateralism, where the member countries voluntarily proposed trade liberalization measures without any formal negotiation, because they do not work on the basis of a trade agreement. Membership can also facilitate technology transfer in key sectors such as information technology, pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, renewable energy, manufacturing. Access to new technologies would enhance India's competitiveness and productivity, while promoting knowledge sharing and capacity building among the APEC members as well. India's inclusion would benefit APEC members by providing increased access to India's strong and young labor force, expanding consumer markets, and also creating more investment and, more than that, job opportunities. In turn, India would gain access to APEC's resources, expertise, including influential APEC Business Advisory Council. India can also participate in the discussion on topics aligned with development interests, as such as automation, micro, small and medium enterprises, and women's economic participation also. India's APEC membership would help the group help India especially address the issue of protectionism of the West, and which is growing in not only America but also in Europe, slowing growth in West, and also Chinese expanding regional influence also. India exited the recently formed Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership due to geopolitical and trade concerns involving China. India prefers stricter rules of origin to safeguard the domestic market, especially the influx of cheap imported goods from China, with which it has a trade deficit. India has declined the RCEP members as a basis of many of the key demands of India were not met. India's request for opening the movement of natural persons was rejected on the whole by ASEAN. On the contrary, India is interested in APEC as a grouping instead of a trade agreement with binding commitments. So these are some of the advantages with regard to India. Also, India's APEC participation carries a lot of geopolitical implications. It will make India to imbibe more of SAARC and also give more concentration to the Bay of Bengal initiative for multi-sectorial technical and economic cooperation, which we called as the BIMSTEC, intermingling and also binding the interests of SAARC and BIMSTEC into the APEC, thereby creating a large market not only for India but also for the APEC nations as well. So looking forward to the Indian membership to the APEC, which anyway this time I think will not be in much of this discussion, because Prime Minister has decided not to attend the meeting and instead will send somebody on behalf of India to the APEC. This is the points which I just wanted to bring forth with regard to India's interest with APEC, and apart from that, looking forward to the APEC summit, and more importantly the discussion between Joe Biden and Xi Jinping, who did not have good ties for a very long time, and this comes at a time when India and Canada, a neighbor of United States, is strained. So Canada has been implicating India for the murder of a Khalistani leader. And recently the ties between India and Canada have steeped down very low. So looking forward to the summit on the sidelines of all these important issues, and most importantly the decision taken by the world leaders regarding the West Asia situation of Israel and Palestine. So we'll come to know what is the polarity between the countries with regard to this issue as well. So I hope this information was really helpful to you all. If you did, please do like, share, subscribe, and do not forget to comment, and I shall see you in my next post. And until then, it's very happy learning.